What's up, guys? Hi, Smoo here. In case you're wondering what the title of the whole video is about, I'll tell you in a second. But first of all, thank you very much for being here, and Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. I hope you have a great Christmas, and hopefully you'll get to spend it with people who care for you or love you, and I hope you're not alone out there. If you are, just know that you aren't. We're here for you. Yeah? So, how did I gain an extra life 10 years ago? Well, to cut a long story short, I almost died 10 years ago. Now, this sounds rather bold, doesn't it? If you really think about it, why am I speaking in video game terms? It's quite simple, really. On this day 10 years ago, around 4 a.m., 5 a.m. my time, I actually went to work that day. I was supposed to work an early shift, and work was starting at 6, so I had to do quite a walk at the time because I didn't have a car that was functioning, so I had no other options. My bike was busted that day too, so call it divine intervention or something like that. I have no idea. But yeah, it was very interesting. I just put my headphones in on my newly gifted phone that I got for Christmas that day. First one with MP3 functionality, actually, when I really think about it. But that's beside the point. I was listening to music. I think I was listening to Foo Fighters or something like that while I was walking. I actually liked their music quite a lot. All politics aside that they have sometimes, but it is what it is. Sometimes I rather separate the artist from their politics, but sometimes it can't be avoided, I suppose. But yeah, I was on my way to work, and I noticed a young group of teenagers. They must have been like 14, 15 or something like that. Definitely not exactly a time where these young men should have been out and about, frankly. So they were hanging about at a local laundromat that was around there, and yeah, they were just hanging out. I didn't think any of it at the time when I was walking by them, and they just, immediately, well, they noticed that I was walking by and they yelled something after me. I have to this day no idea what exactly they said, because the music was very loud that I was listening to. Because I'd rather just drown my surroundings in loud music than actually having to listen, bear with my surroundings for the most part. I am like that to this day, so it's nothing new to me, really. So they were yelling something along the lines of, "Hey, come on, you should F your mom," or something like that. I have no idea if they really said that or if I'm just adding things here, but at the end of the day, it has been something along those lines. Let's just put it that way. And they probably felt provoked by the fact that I didn't hear what they were saying. So they started running after me. I didn't realize it at the time because I was listening to music. So I think 2 of them shoved me from behind, and there was this on the pavement. There was the pavement, and then there was like a fence on the right hand side. So it was a quite spiky one. It was like that, but made out of wood, and the tips were rather spiky. So they shoved me, and I just stumbled and just fell into the fence, and then fell to and then just down to the floor of the pavement. And yeah, let's just put it that way. They started wailing on me, like kicking me really fucking hard. I was in such excruciating pain from just those kicks alone, in the rib cage and stomach, and also in my back, that I almost fainted. That's how bad the pain was. And yeah, let's just say that with the remaining energy that I had left, I thought probably the smartest idea is to play dead. I don't know why my brain had this brilliant idea in that moment, but it did. So with the remaining energy that I had left in me before I started fainting, or almost fainted, I just loosened up my body and just pretended to stop breathing and play dead. One of the guys who was kicking me at the time noticed that I wasn't moving anymore, and I just stopped breathing. So he started panicking and then just ran away. And the other guys probably realized, like, fuck, we committed a murder here, let's get the fuck out of here. So I was making damn sure that they were gone before I somehow managed to get myself back up on my feet. To this day, I have no idea how I managed to get back up on my feet after that. I was extremely fucking lucky that day. And that's where the title of the video comes from. I gained an extra life that day, guys. I have no idea how lucky I was and who was looking after me at the time. I should add, I'm not a very religious person. I mean, I was a Catholic for a while, but I'm not really, like an avid Catholic. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, I consider myself extremely fucking lucky that I didn't die that day. Someone must have been looking after me. Maybe it was my grandmothers who died. Maybe it was God. I have no idea. What I do know is that I got a second chance that day. Part of me died that day, probably. But let's be honest here. I wouldn't be here talking to you guys right now if that weren't the case. And yeah. To cut a long story short, because this video is probably going to be long enough as is, I picked myself back up. I was in excruciating pain, and I have no idea how I managed to pick myself up and actually walk to work. I still had a 20-minute walk to go. I have no idea to this day how I got there. Maybe it was excess adrenaline. Maybe it was something else. I have no idea. I assume it's adrenaline, to be honest, but I don't know. What I do know is I arrived at the hospital I was working at the time as a civil servant because I quit my first job as my first apprenticeship as a logistics salesman, and I had no perspective on what to do as a career. So I did my civil service because, for those who don't know, in Germany you have something called the Wehrpflicht, which is pretty much like enlisting for the military or provide military service for a period of time, if you're deemed physical fit enough, and mentally, of course, or generally deemed suited for the military. I refused that kind of thing, and I wanted to do a civil service instead, because I thought that was more fitting for me. I didn't see myself as a soldier. That probably was the part that played into it. And yeah, I was supposed to have a shift that day, an early shift on ICU. So I walked to the hospital, my hometown's hospital where I was working at. I walked in, got changed, and somehow just walked into the ward, and the nurses looked at me and they were like, "Holy shit, what happened to you?" At first I just wanted to play cool and I was like, it's nothing. I just got almost kicked to a pulp. It's fine. But they insisted that I get myself checked up. And I'm kind of glad they did, because what I didn't realize at the time, because I was under such excruciating pain, was that I actually fractured a rib. And that fractured rib was nearly penetrating one of my lungs. So I got extremely fucking lucky there. I mean, imagine if they would have carried kicking me further and further. That probably would have killed me. Just getting the lung puncture and then not being able to breathe properly. Yeah, kind of ironic that my own body almost killed me that day. But hey, as you can see, I'm slowly coming to terms with it. after 10 years. So what I did was I filed a police report while I was in hospital. Obviously they never caught the culprits because it was dark as shit. I couldn't see a damn thing. And frankly, my memory was hazy enough as is because I was just lucky that I was actually able to walk to the hospital with the remaining energy that I had left. Needless to say though, I still did my shift that day. Granted, I didn't do heavy lifting or anything like that, but I insisted that I do something to occupy my mind and not think about the situation too much. Now you ask yourself, why in the hell did you do that? I thought it was the right thing to do. It's just my nature to help people for some reason. And I guess I hate to use that term, but the Good Samaritan in me that day insisted that I do that. Why? I have no idea. I just did. What I almost failed to do was letting my parents know what happened. So, when I was at work, I think it was around 8 a.m. or something like that, I actually started thinking like, maybe I should tell them what happened. And I just gave them a call from work. Now, my parents usually get the work numbers I'm working at, so they know that work is calling them when they see it on the phone. Excuse me. And yeah, they were already worried enough because work called. And I was like, hey, it's me. And by the way, I've been almost beaten to a pulp, or beaten to death. Or well, not beaten, but kicked to death. And obviously my parents were very upset about that. And I don't blame them one bit. Now the thing is, I had a mobile phone on me. I could have easily called them. But in that moment when I got up and went to work, I just didn't even think about or entertaining the idea to call them. And yeah, that's what happened. To this day, I still have night terrors from that situation. I wake up in cold sweat. Sometimes I just wake up in the middle of the night and I cannot sleep anymore because I'm just reliving that experience over and over again. Because my brain thinks it's funny. Yeah, and every once in a while I catch myself getting nervous around crowds of people, especially in like more quieter areas of cities and generally towns. And yeah, I can count my lucky stars that I didn't die that day. I really can. But it didn't change me as a human being. I never got like bitter or full of hate because of it. Actually, it made me appreciate my life a lot more, having experienced this near-death thing. And it changed my philosophy on how I handle being with or having company, especially if it's a woman or a friend of mine, you know? I always make sure that they get home okay, ever since. Because I don't want them to experience this harrowing situation that I was in. Never in my life I would have thought that this would happen to me. But it did. To cut a long story short, guys, live your life to the fullest and just make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them. Yeah? Do that. If you're not doing it for yourself, do it for me. Okay? So yeah, I am very grateful to have gotten this extra life and being able to talk to you right now and actually make the most of this whole situation. And I have no idea who's looking out for me up there, but I have a very good guardian angel, I suppose. But yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest and didn't want to end Christmas on a sour note for you. So Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. I am very fucking grateful to have you in my circle and my fellowship. And thank you for being here. And let's make sure we make something fun for Christmas and actually make it count. Maybe I'll see you tonight for some gaming. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we'll do something else. Maybe we do a movie watch along or something like that. I don't know yet. But one thing's for sure, I'll be there. And always remember, guys, you're not alone out there. If you need someone to talk, do reach out to me. I take my time for people. And I think it's important that we, communicate and talk more every once in a while. It is important that you do that. And I don't want to sound preachy or anything because this video is dragging on long enough as is. But do count your blessings and be grateful for the life that was given to you. Even if it's some of the shittiest days you've experienced, there will be an upswing. And I'm sure that most of you understand what I mean. And I'm just pretty damn grateful that you guys give me your time and appreciate the things that I do for you. And for me, of course. So, on that note, thank you very much for watching. Merry Christmas, and see you guys later. Until then.